Showtime.
Welcome back to the Enjoy the Walk podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty exciting episode today. We have a group of guys that kind of get it. I think, Dante, when they bring together a common group of individuals to play competitive golf and a tournament style golf in a way that we all can strive to play well. And I think once, kind of like we were talking before we got on air, it brings those butterflies into play that you don't just get when you're out with your buddies. Even if you got $5 on the line, it's just not the same as playing for like a replica Wanamaker trophy or playing for that green jacket. So excited to bring the guys on from Glover Park Tour, and excited to hear their backstory because now they're in cities like Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, and they play at some of the most prestigious places in those cities. So excited to hear how it all got started and why they play, how they play. So guys, you're all joining us from Glover Park Tour. Thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us this evening.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, man.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. So, let me introduce all you guys. We have Steve Panas, Sean McCaney, and Jonathan Leone. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I got to ask, why the name Glover Park? Where did it all start?
Sure, dude. Well, we moved up to DC collectively from Florida at this point, like I guess 10, 11 years ago. Found this neighborhood called Glover Park in DC for whatever reason. It's actually pronounced Glover Park. Nobody's 100% sure why, but when you've got, I guess, a combination of competitiveness, immaturity, and plenty of kind of spare time amongst your buddies to put together a kind of sarcastic, like initially pretty sarcastic tour that's to a certain extent created a life of its own. It just kind of felt natural to call it the Glover Park Tour.
Well, that's pretty sweet. And, where were you guys from and what made you move up to the DC area? Was it work related or was it just like, that's where we want to be?
John, what do you think, man?
Well, we're all from Florida, the three founders, myself, Sean, and Sam, and we're actually all random college roommates too. But we used to play this 9-hole course back at Florida State. We walked it; it was awesome. Played some pretty bad golf on that course, but it was like $5 after 3 p.m. We'd go out 2 or 3 times a week.
So basically, you could buy a bucket for $8 at like the Florida State course, or you could drive a mile, pay $6, and walk 9 holes. Every single day. So it was just a really, really cool, introduction. It was called Jake Gaither. It's still there. I think if we ever, expand more geographically, I feel like Jake Gaither is a natural spot to host a major for sure. But
play the same.
It was a really cool, like kind of backstory with those roots and where it's all come from.
Yeah, it's like the
But we
home of golf for Glover Park Tour, and you got to bring it back to its roots.
Exactly. Our other friend Sam, he ended up working on the hill. He moved up to DC. We kind of followed him here and continued the golf competitions. I'd win, Sean would win the next one, Sam would win one, and kind of just kept arguing over who the better golfer was. All of us were shooting 92, 93. That's kind of what led to this whole thing.
Well, that's funny. And we always talk about it. Like, that's the common man golf. Like, there's a lot of people that have played either competitive golf at a collegiate level or junior golf level, and they get down to that high 70, low 80 range. But you look at like the men's leagues and everything that's kind of like just everyday golfers that have that 9 to 5 and just go play recreationally. They're in that 90s range. They're in that, man, I really just want to break 100. Like, that's my goal. And I think that's the niche you guys hit. It's so cool is getting those kind of people together. So, like, when did you found the Glover Park Tour officially to say, you know what, we're going to have a season. We're going to have a competitive kind of culmination of events throughout a year?
It was like, here's what happened. All right. Okay. Fall 2009, we came up with this idea. It was just myself, John, and Sam, 3 roommates. everything was very much like unwritten in terms of the rules, in terms of our thoughts, in terms of how this whatever like structure that we were, you know, abiding by would come together. Effectively, every single one of us took advantage of these unwritten rules by skewing them to our individual favor, which is what prompted Sam to kind of sit down one day, write the quote unquote Glover Park golf constitution, you know, basically formulate the structure and put together a completely bogus, like sarcastic Google website, and had a fourth friend who planned a vacation like around that bogus Google website with our bogus schedule, and we were off and running. So that's the backstory.
The best ideas always start with sarcasm.
It's true.
Absolutely.
Sure.
When you tell someone, you know, let's just do it because we can, and then we'll figure the rest out later. It's those kind of ideas that, funny enough, seem to, you know, they come from the heart. So they usually resonate with more than just you guys. They resonate with a lot more people. And, you know, what were maybe some, you know, we saw your guys' mission statement, and it's a distinguished club designed to promote camaraderie and friendly competition among all golf enthusiasts, which, whether written sarcastically or not, is a pretty, you know, humbling statement. It's kind of all encompassing. And I think that's what you guys have, from 2009 to today, have continued to build. You know, what did those first official events look like?
John, go ahead.
Well, it's I mean, it started out with 3 or 4 people, and, you know, someone's friend would hear about it and want to come out and play. Another friend of a friend would come out and play. We'd have 6 people out there, and eventually the technology caught up and we were able to get live scoring, which completely changed the game. Just in terms of, you know, going through the event and seeing your 2 shots behind with 6 holes to play and your buddies 2 groups in front of you.
But you know he's terrible and he's going to fall backwards. All you have to do is kind of,
you know, he can't close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we finally started to recognize the winner, and at a certain point, it kind of went beyond just us 3, and we just kind of wanted to create the best tour that we could to kind of share our vision for competitive golf for the amateur player.
I mean, I think someone would say like, hey, this sounds pretty cool. You should try this. You should try that. And so we'd say, well, I mean, you know, at the time we were single, 24, kind of, you know, just whatever. Had plenty of time to kill between 6:30 and 10 o'clock most weeknights. And so we just sort of, you know, took it one step at a time and you know, just slowly, unintentionally legitimized it. And you know, here we go. We're in multiple cities.
And that's one of the great parts. And I've explained this multiple times here on the pod and off camera and off mic with Dalton. I said, you know, I've talked to other people about this, is you go to high school, you go to college, you play sports as a youth, and maybe if you take it into high school and take it even further into college, if you don't go to college, it's fine. But basically, when you graduate high school or you graduate college and you plan on not taking anything extracurricular, you are basically going to work. But you've played sports your entire life, so you have this competitive drive. And it's, you know, men's league from baseball to like football, basketball, whatnot, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. Golf is a sport that's played when you're a little kid, all the way up into literally you can drop dead on the course. You can play up into that age and still be competitive, which allows, because unless you're going pro, you're not going to basically you're not. I mean, that's 1%. 1% of golfers make it, maybe less than that. The rest of us, we need some type of competitive drive, and that's what the Glover Park Tour is. What we have, you know. You can go play your weekend rounds with 3 or 4 of your buddies and play a money match, and okay, cool. But having that and being able to, like, all right, let's strive and get a couple more guys and get more guys and build on top of that, and seeing what you have now and what it can potentially be in the future is just remarkable to see, because we all want something to competitively play in sports, and that's what we have here.
Nah, it's cool. And I'd say too, like, you know, just putting a schedule together the way that we do basically in January and February with 4 quote unquote majors, and a travel tournament. It just, it lets you circle weekends on your calendar, well in advance. And, for a lot of, like work colleagues and stuff who have a really difficult time, like getting out and playing golf on short notice, it lets them post it on their whatever fridge, circle some dates and have, plenty of time to plan out their calendar with whatever else they have going on. So it's been good to be able to hang on to golf into my 30s, the way that I've seen a lot of people kind of have to, take a break at minimum during that same time. So it's been great.
Yeah, I think that's something a lot of people miss too is, when they start having a kid or 2 or 3 or however many, God bless them if they're cheaper by the dozen, but they start moving into that, time frame of their lives and they start missing golf. They start having other priorities, and it's events like this that it's welcoming to the golfer that hasn't played in a month or 2 and can still pick up the clubs and come to the Glover Park Tour and, fit right in. And not be, kind of like, oh man, if I don't bring my A game today, it isn't even worth me coming. It's like, well, it's exactly why you come to the Glover Park Tour. If you don't have your A game at the Glover Park Tour and you're not shooting 71, 72, it's like, well, that's what the Glover Park Tour is fit for, is those guys that, there's other priorities in life other than golf, but they still love the game.
Yeah, it's funny because, as the leaderboard kind of develops throughout the round, there's certain storylines and rivalries that will start to develop. Even if you're towards the bottom, you have a buddy that you want to beat. Once you've kind of accepted that you're out of the running for this particular tournament, you start looking at where your friends are and kind of keeps you motivated, earning points towards the playoffs. It's a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, that live scoring thing just adds such a different realm to the game. I mean, again, you guys mentioned earlier playing the Sunday round or the Saturday round with your 3 buddies, but being able to see everybody rack and stack. I mean, these guys that are playing on tour, they're guys that haven't played competitive golf. They've never been in a position where they've been in a number 1, 2, 3 position on a leaderboard. So, I've seen multiple times, I'm not going to name any names, but I've seen multiple times that somebody's melted down on 16, 17, 18 because they could hardly walk down the fairway because they've never held first place before, but they've been playing for 3 years. So, yeah, it's a really unique and cool feeling for those people that, dream of doing something like a PGA Tour, but know that, they didn't put in the, playing from when they were 6 years old diligently through the time they graduated college.
Yeah, I think, whether you're shooting 81 or 61, the dream of sinking that putt on 18, for something, for a trophy and for a jacket even, it's something that everyone who's ever picked up a club or watched golf, a little more often than, your average sports fan, they dream of it. They're like, wow, man, Tiger did that. Like, I would love to have a putt to win it all, just like Tiger, Phil or anybody. I would love to have a putt to win it all. And that's what you guys kind of provide for just the everyday golfer that will never win a PGA Tour event, will never, probably not even win, their like state am or their state open, but, has a chance to win some serious, some either bronze or silver on the Glover Park Tour.
That's true, man. I mean, I just hope to win a tournament on the GPT, let alone like anything else you just mentioned. It used to be easier when it was just like me, John, and Sam, and maybe, the original, the one or two kind of others who first joined, Mike and Tom specifically. But as more folks come on board, who generally, you just push each other. I mean, when we started, we were in the mid 90s. I mean, I was in the mid 90s. My goal was generally to break like 90 each time I go out. And if I did, I had a pretty decent chance to win. All of a sudden you better be low 80s to have a shot. And it just pushes you in a way that you'd otherwise not have that chance to get pushed and to improve. It makes you actually want to go out occasionally and practice, which was never in my, routine before. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so
Um,
so you guys talked about being in DC originally, and then you obviously are in 3 cities now. How did that expansion happen? How did you guys go from DC out to Philly, and then being in New York, you kind of as steady as you guys are with all those cities now?
Yeah, so we were sitting on the couch one night and we kind of do a team tournament, like a Ryder Cup style tournament amongst the DC guys, which is awesome. But I think Sean was at one point, he was like, wouldn't it be awesome if we could play a different group and be on the same team? And we kind of looked around and we couldn't find anything. And we were just kind of like, maybe we should just start another tour and be able to do that. A year later, we ended up starting it and we met Steve, who's just as enthusiastic about it as we were. And Philly unfortunately beat us in the first Ryder Cup. But
I was actually going to hang that over your head later in the podcast, so that's cool.
we're going to redeem ourselves this year.
I love that. Now, did you play in a DC course, or did the Philly guys have the home court advantage?
It was a middle neutral site.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
That is fair.
I tried to save you. I tried to bring you back from the dead there, but maybe next year.
We played. I think it was Bully Rock. The first go round. It may be the same this time too. So it's basically halfway in between. Hour and 15 for us, maybe hour and 15 for them. I would say, it was a cold day. I'd say that favors Philly just, generally. The majority of the DC folks are from Florida, and we're just not suited for that kind of situation.
I don't
It was. It got
want to rag
pushed.
on Philly too bad because I got a guy that's a big Philly fan sitting 2 seconds away from me here, but Philly's used to that scum weather. Philly's just I don't know.
Listen, we're mutters. We're true mutters.
I was going to say grinders for sure.
Come talk to my guys. If there's no snow on the ground, our guys are out there playing.
Yeah,
They're finding a tee time somewhere and they're going out and playing. Listen, I've played where I have guys bringing drills just to drill a hole into the ground to stick a tee in the ground.
Look, the mascot of the hockey team is Gritty. I mean, you can't really do anything outside of that. I mean,
yeah, when you dive down that low for a mascot, I mean, you're not playing fair weather golf at that point either.
So let's schedule it in the heat and humidity of August, September next year, and we'll give you a run for sure.
Well, I'm excited to see if you guys run that back this year with the Ryder Cup. Excited to see who takes that one home. And obviously can't let New York out of either. You guys had an event or two up at Bethpage State Park. The other thing I'm curious about is just how do you guys set up the relationships with these courses? How do you get on such, really, really kind of well manicured, well notarized courses like you guys do so consistently?
Yeah, so as soon as each season ends, we'll get right on the schedule and start calling, the local pros at each course, trying to kind of introduce ourselves, tell them what we're about, try and get some good rates, make sure they're really nice courses.
And once you've got the relationship, I mean, they start reaching out to you too. I mean, if we're going to bring, 24 in DC anyway, kind of, minimum guys out to a place that, they'll probably give us maybe a 15 or 25% discount to, or whatever the case might be. I mean, they're reaching out to try to fill their tee sheets up, proactively also. And once you're on good terms, you've got the relationships built. If we've got a 12 tournament season, there's probably only 15 or 16 courses worth of a pool that we're choosing from. And it initially was again, kind of sarcastically, we called them bids. This course won the bid to host X tournament. And now it's legit, outreach from these, from the courses to get back on the schedule. So it's been neat. I mean, again, kind of nothing was intentional. Nothing was, we didn't have some vision 10 years ago. It's just what's kind of organically, developed over that time.
when it's funny, the things that just organically develop like that seem to last more in the long run than things that kind of pop up quick and seem to spend their powder quicker than most. So it's awesome to see that it's been that way for you guys. And, as we've seen you guys pop up on the market and continue to have season after season of events, it's something that just continues year after year to gain just a little more and a little more interest year after year. And it's awesome to see for you guys. We're sending one of our own out to Philmont next weekend, and Dante's going to hopefully represent us proudly.
Put the pressure on.
Oh, I got to, dude. I'm gonna. And represent out there in Philmont. So excited to have ourselves out there and in the mix with you guys.
We're probably the final group, Dante. So
Final group. You hear that?
We'll call it the marquee group.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's gonna get Enjoy the Walk live coverage, right? Instead of PGA Tour live, that's GPT Tour live coverage.
Yeah, I'll have the phone in the pocket. Oh, yeah, no, it's gonna be. I'm excited for it. I know Dalton and I played Philmont last year. We actually were fortunate to play in the Barstool Classic, so at least I do have some memory of some of the holes. So hopefully, I can maybe piece a better round than last time. It was a little bit of a struggle because we just went in there completely blind.
We went blind. Never played the North Course before in our lives.
Just go with it and just we'll figure it out from there. So a little, I can go back in the tank here and see what we can pull up. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to see you guys all in person. Get out there, have a good time, and compete, because that's really what it's about, and just camaraderie and competition.
Right on.
That's right.
Tell you what Steve should do. Steve should send that link to the live leaderboard, post it on, enjoythewalk.com, and you'll probably have like texts, on an ongoing basis down that background as you go, depending on how good or bad
I tell you
you're
what,
showing.
we can put a nice little header at the top of our website for the live event. We might have to do that,
All right.
guys. Look out for that. We're gonna do that. Actually, that's not a mic. That's gonna be a do that.
a lot of
I
pressure
love that.
now.
Yeah, we're gonna have that live leaderboard out there, guys. So follow along as Dante either rockets to the top or plummets to the bottom. You guys are gonna have to find out and follow along.
I hope the driver is working by that day. So
Yeah, driver got you a couple times.
a couple times today. So hopefully it's not windy,
I like it.
but it's also in between trees. So I'm not on the ocean. So
Yeah, that's it. I played it for the first time 2 weeks ago. It's a beautiful course, but it gets tight in certain places. So,
yep.
you start to lose them a little bit on the back, and you can see that leaderboard change pretty quickly.
Yeah, I remember a few tight ones. I know. I think one of the pictures that you or posts that you had was that is it a par 4? It's that tight par 4 that's downhill, and then it's really long, and you have to hit it over water in your approach shot. Remember that? We totally screwed up.
Oh yeah, the downhill. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one's haunting my memory. So hopefully we can get past that one.
So you talked about signing up. I don't think we touched on yet kind of the overall format of how you guys play these events, and I want to get into that too. How do you guys play it? How do you guys score it? Is it just upfront scoring, just kind of gross? And then do you guys have any side matches too? Like, is there any kind of side games going on? Is there skins? What all is encompassed with the format of what people can expect when they show up to a Glover Park Tour event?
I think Steve's best suited to, describe the Philly experience. I think it's unique with each city, but I'll leave it, to the chapter president.
Yeah, no, we're really excited, and it's actually been pretty easy for us thus far. We've had a group of guys that are really, really closely knit, and then also, play very similar golf. So, everybody shoots from high 70s all the way up. We got guys that are shooting, 110. And they still have a great time out there. Then we also have some handicap tournaments that we play throughout the year, and those are all noted on the website. But for the most part, the first two seasons have really all been stroke play, and we've had a different winner pretty much every week. There's really not been too many back-to-backs, and with 26 tournaments over the last 2 years, that's pretty unique. And so it's stroke play, which gives you also that. It's kind of that feeling of you're on tour. There's no handicaps. It's, you play better than the other person. It's not based on who's, played the best 10 rounds or worst 10 rounds out of their last 20. It's really based on how you show up that day.
Yeah, that's so true. Like the way you said it, the fact that no one's won back-to-back, having those kind of events as closely, intertwined as you have is something really cool as well. And I think stroke play like that, and really that the handicap events are separate from the stroke play gross events is pretty cool as well. I feel like most events, if you have them, are kind of intertwined with that. You have a net winner, you have a gross winner kind of at the same time. So the fact that you're going out there and, it doesn't matter if you're a 6 or a 20, it just, you're playing for the same trophy. And if one guy gets hot, you get hot and you play well and you win. So I think that's really cool as well.
That's basically PGA golf.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's tour golf.
That's tour
It's
golf.
GPT golf.
That's GPT golf.
GPT golf.
Yeah.
No, I like that too, because I know I do a lot of member events at my course, and sometimes even like side matches too. It kind of gets frustrating for some of the lower handicap guys because they have to play better than their handicap, because if a higher handicap guy comes in and just has a good day, they're getting all those strokes and they're just destroying the field. So I do like that aspect, is show up and hopefully it's your best that day and you can walk out with the trophy. And then speaking of that, that's like one of the things when I was at the show at Oaks for the Philly Golf Show Expo, I turned the corner, I see the sign, and I see it's like GPT's written all over it. There's like a green jacket and there's like all these different trophies and like I think there was another jacket that was plaid. I don't know. It was a while back, and I'm like, what is that?
You gotta know.
I was like,
yeah.
What's this here? I walk up. That's where I met Steve, and I said, what do you got going on here? And he explained everything. And I think that's like one of the coolest things, is to be able to go out and play a tournament, because you can go play a member event, you can go play with your buddies, and you're walking out with either cash or maybe a store credit card. This, you're walking out with some hardware.
I love hardware. There's nothing better than hardware. No. And especially some hardware I get to wear.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. And I think that's
exactly right.
We prefer that the hardware gets returned like the next year, so that we can engrave your name on that hardware and present it to the next guy. We've had a couple instances where that didn't happen, and a trophy or two disappeared. You get to keep the jackets, but no, it's a super unique feeling, knowing that like if I'm up one or tied, and if I play decent these next 25 minutes, I mean, my name will literally be engraved on this thing that my friends are going to have to look at for probably the next 12, 15, 20 years. So there you go.
And I think that's just like a great feeling to have too. I mean, you can you can win store credit, go out and buy like a head cover. Cool. Oh yeah, I got this head cover. But knowing like you won, say, I don't know, in 2006, you won the Philmont, say you had the Philmont Open, you won that. That is on there. And that will be on there for the eternity of the GPT. So I just think that's something special, because like any newcomer that come around, like, oh, there's Dante. He won this tournament back. Who's this guy? Like it puts the history into the tournament.
Yeah.
And that just
Are you calling it out that you're going to win at Philmont? Is that what you just did?
You did it to yourself, dude. I didn't even say anything. You did it to yourself.
I'm putting examples here. We'll see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. When Dante finishes T last at the Philmont.
Listen, I got a lot of friends that follow, and they bust my balls so hard. So if I don't perform at least and do something, I'll never hear the end of it. But it's going to be a good one.
Well, guys, like we said about 7 minutes ago, and Dante just did it to himself. We're gonna put the leaderboard on the header of our website, so you guys will be able to follow along all day. When's the date for it? When's the Philmont tournament?
Saturday, June 13th.
Saturday, June 13th, guys, at Philmont. Dante will be up there. Glover Park Tour will be up there.
All right, I'll put the tee time into it. What time I'm teeing off as well on the thing, because we get that Friday.
I like it. I
like
like
12:40ish I think it's 12:40ish.
12. Okay. Oh, we already know this one.
Like he said, marquee tea time. Marquee tea time. Awesome, guys. I love it. And, it's kind of been your approach so far. So, I don't expect a drawn out answer for what I'm about to ask you, but, you guys have approached this with such a laid back but fun attitude. And I think that's what makes the Glover Park Tour, so special and so unique. But what are the plans moving forward? Through 2020, we've had some speed bumps with all the pandemic and everything. But is it business as usual going forward? And then, what is 2021 going to look like? Is there any kind of special things on your guys' radar that you might be doing differently? Or is it just building upon what you guys have already kind of set in stone?
Yeah, I mean, we got some plans. Ultimately, we just want to share our passion for competitive golf with as many people as we can, because we love it so much. But ultimately, we've talked about doing kind of a national championship tournament and kind of combine all the tours at a awesome location, a Pinehurst-esque location, kind of get all 3 tours together and have an ultimate champion. Right now we're kind of working on a new website too that's going to kind of have all the tours onto one site too to make it easier for everyone. But yeah, we just kind of want to get the word out and let everyone experience what we love so much.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's really exciting. There's tours I know, down here in the Eastern Shore too, that have expanded from kind of just Eastern Shore to, begin encompassing all aspects of the country. And they've, since had a Chicago stop, a West Coast stop, a Midwest stop. And it's for, really competitive players. It's for the junior players stepping up into competitive golf. And I think you guys, have the ability to do that same thing, because I think there's so many players at the level of high 70s, 80s, and even the 90s, like we talked about, that still love to get out there and say, you know what, if I get hot, if I make a couple good swings, I'm going to have that career day. And then, as we talked about, it's that etching on the stone per se, etching on the trophy or whatever, that gives these guys the opportunity that, aren't those child prodigies, aren't those, stellar golfers that can still play competitively. So excited to see you guys grow in, whatever way possible. And just happy to see, you guys chasing the competitive juices out there on the golf course, no matter how, good the skill level is.
Yeah, definitely. And then golf's the one sport where you can kind of always see that mountaintop, but you can never really get there. Like right when you almost get there, your short game goes bad or you get knocked down. And
it is a forever humbling game.
Or you have this great stretch of a few good rounds, and then you have that bad one, and then you have another bad one, and then you get the text, "I'm back." Immediately, and then you stink the next day.
You've sent me the "I'm back" text, followed by the "dude, my clubs are on eBay."
Yep.
In about a 24-hour period. So
less than 24 hours. It's been less than 24 hours. I think I've done that. So
absolutely,
that's always, and that's what makes golf great. Is you can never get perfect.
You can't. No chance.
It's kind of like it's a lot like life. You never really win. You just play, and hope when you wake up the next morning, your clubs are still like in the trunk of your car and not on some internet auction site. So I'm with you.
Yeah, it's one of those two. Just like if we made it through, no one died, no one had a life experience where they broke 3 or 4 clubs. It was a good day. It was a great day.
Who are you playing with? No. All right.
I'm not looking at anybody.
3-4 clubs, get out of here. Nah, exactly. And that's golf. It's game of life. I mean, it's
just need that one good shot. That's all it takes.
One shot to bring it back, and it's usually like a 20-footer for birdie or par on 18.
That keeps you alive just for the next
one. I'm coming back.
Yeah. All right. We'll make it tea time tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I know you said you had a couple websites and obviously some Instagram presence as well. How can people find you? How can people follow along? You said you had the live scoring as well. What are the best ways to follow along with not only the Glover Park Tour, but Glover Park Tour Philly, Glover Park Tour DC, and New York? And how can people reach out to you to sign up as well?
Yeah. So, I mean, real soon you'll be able to just go to gloverparktour.com and it'll be a one-stop shop. Right now it's the DC tour, gloverparktourphiladelphia.com, gloverparktourny.com. But yeah, Instagram, Glover Park Tour, and you could always email us at gloverparktour@gmail.com is probably the best way to reach us. But yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff on Instagram. Steve's doing a great job with all the Philly guys out there. And we actually had the one guy that's leading the New York tour. He used to play on our tour in DC and had to move to New York for a job. He called me like a month after he left. He's like, dude, I need the GPT.
Craving it.
So that's kind of how that one got started.
Well, that's exciting, man. That's a good feeling to have. You know, when someone had such a great experience like that they need it back in their lives. It's a good kind of sign that you guys are doing some good stuff up there in the Glover Park Tour, and excited to check it out via Dante's experience and have one of our own there with you guys next week, and just excited to see this kind of things going on in the game of golf. I think we need more of it, and just kudos to you guys for as long as you've been at it, since 2009, and kind of never given up on it, and just for the love of the game, I imagine, is why you guys keep it going on, and for the love of the competitive flow. So it's awesome, guys, and I can't wait to see what the next few years have in store for you as well.
Yeah, if you would have told me 10 years ago we'd be at the old course at St. Andrews presenting our Open Championship trophy, I wouldn't have believed you. It's been a great ride, and you guys are doing some good stuff too. So thanks for having us on.
Well, yeah, of course, we appreciate that, and it's kind of Dante and I talk about it all the time. It's really just it's our mission to find kind of the diamonds in the rough of the golf industry and what's going on in the golf world that maybe people haven't heard of, and if they get a chance to experience it, then I know they're going to enjoy it, and you guys are doing one of those things. So it's our pleasure to have you guys, and hopefully have you back again sometime soon, whether it's in the fall or maybe your next Open Championship. We'll join you over to St. Andrews. That would be a first for us. So it's still on our bucket list.
Yeah, you guys might be onto something with the Enjoy the Walk too. Walking those courses out there just opens up your eyes to how golf should be played. Such a great experience.
Yeah, we've kind of always stood by that, and I think it's something that Dante and I both are just so passionate about. It's a different experience when you get to just put 2 feet out there and have no carts, have no GPS. You're kind of on your own. You're feeling the elements rather than just kind of speeding through it, and it slows you down too. We talked about Sean, I think, put it perfectly a little earlier. Golf's the game of life. And it slows you down enough to respect what's around you, experience it a little more. And I think, you can't do that through riding. I think you can only truly experience how great the game of golf is by walking it. And we're happy to, be doing what we're doing now and kind of blessed to, just be spreading the message. So.
No doubt.
Thanks again. And follow that leaderboard. Let's see how Dante
absolutely
does.
Guys, please, for the love of God, whether it's on Glover Park Tour or our website, follow that leaderboard, see how Dante does June 13th out at Philmont. Guys, excited to see how that goes, and excited to see Dante's progress up or down, one way or the other.
Oh man. Yeah,
I'm
I
excited.
might have to put the photo
It's going to be a lot of fun.
like, here we go. Depending on how the first couple of them go.
I want to see someone better videotape that first tee shot, because this boy's going to be nervous through his bones. I love it.
Probably.
Well, guys, that is Glover Park Tour. That's Steve Panas. That's Sean McCaney, and that's John Leone. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I seriously appreciate it.
Thanks
for having
guys.
us, man.
Enjoyed it.
Absolutely. And as always, guys, you know how to get out to us at Enjoy the Walk Pod on Instagram and Twitter, www.enjoythewalkpod.com. If you guys want to shop our latest merch or just check us out and see what we're doing, where we're at, what golf courses we're playing, how we're playing on the Glover Park Tour coming up, guys, just check it out. And we hope you guys can check out this podcast and share it. Share it with someone who loves the game of golf. And we hope to hear from you guys. So thanks for listening.